Welcome back. Well, yes, indeed, we're focusing on the power sector this morning, and we're joined now by Mr. Kola Adeshina, who is the chairman of Egmi Power Plant. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, we'll get like a lot of clarification this morning because many don't understand how some of these things work. First of all, let's find out. Generation today, as we speak, many people are experiencing challenges. We don't have the supply as we used to. What's going on now?
Okay, thank you very much. The issue of generation is based more from a gas perspective, availability of gas in the first instance. Now, the other issue is for the machines, the turbines themselves, to be readily available to give power to the system. As we speak today, I know that the installed capacity for Egmi, for instance, is 1,320 megawatts. We're doing this morning 870, and we can do 1,100. Availability of gas is the challenge from a generation perspective.
Is there no time that, because there were some reports we saw where they said Egmi had doubled its capacity. I think they say nameplate capacity of over 2,000 megawatts. Was that true?
No, that's not true. What actually happened was that at the point of privatization, when we took over the asset, Egmi was doing between 380 and 400 megawatts. And today is doing 1,100. So when they were speaking to Dublin at that material time, they were looking at the quantum of energy that is available to the system from the Egmi power station.
So if you have that now from 3 to 1,000 plus, we should feel it.
Yeah, you're feeling it, except for the fact that you equally should know that in Nigeria, a lot of people are using their generating system, the generators. The moment you see electricity, you switch off your generator. You come back to the public utility. At that material time, what starts to happen is that you're having a pool of more energy from the system, and there is a limit to which you can give. The installed capacity is about 7,000. The capacity that the transmission companies can dispatch to the system is about 5,200 as we speak today. The highest capacity the system has been able to deploy is 5,074 megawatts in the history of Nigeria. So what you have is that the moment generation increases, quite a number of people that are stranded or self-generating starts to switch back to the system. It pulls the system because of the fact that there is, one, no gas in the first instance. Secondly, the transmission cannot evacuate. Thirdly, the people that should use the power, they are self-generating. Now they see power, they start to use it. It drains the system. That is the challenge that we all suffer from.
Are you implying they shouldn't self-generate?
No, Nigerians shouldn't self-generate.
They shouldn't self-generate?
No, we shouldn't. Because really and truly, one of the things that bothers some of us, which is why we've invested heavily in this system, is that you find a situation where countries like Korea, 50 million, 55 million people, they're generating 86,000 megawatts. South Africa, just down the road, about 50, 55 billion, they're generating about 49,000 megawatts. So if Nigeria, 170 million, is doing 5,000, that's not good enough.
Where exactly is the problem? Because when you took over, we've heard your colleagues and yourself, you've talked about the challenges you've met on ground. So what exactly is the problem with Nigeria's power sector?
There are many issues we've had to suffer from right from inception. First and foremost is that of investment. Power is an infrastructure that needs significant investment, and it's not one-time investment that you require. You require long-term investment. It's continuous. It's not something that you do today, you stop doing once you achieve it. No, you have to continue in that process. Now, for you to have investment in the system, there is need for pricing. Pricing of electricity in Nigeria is very, 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 very low. I do a comparative analysis. If you look at the new tariff that came out of the system from NERC recently, averagely for residential, it's about 25 naira. Now you go to our neighbors, Ghana, it's about 33 naira. You go to South Africa, 36 naira, average in those places. So you can see that we're still far, far below what a cost-reflective tariff should be to engender investment to be able to get the power we deserve.
You know, before we got into the evacuation issue, I wanted us to go back to gas, and that would also mean what Nyota is trying to also get from you. When we talk about the issue of gas, availability of gas for us to power the turbines, let's go back to that, because for some Nigerians, they would say, hey, come on, we have gas in abundance here in Nigeria. How come we still talk about gas? Perhaps let's have an understanding of the dynamics in procuring gas.
Okay, regarding gas, yes, there is comparative advantage for Nigeria in terms of availability of gas. But please note that for you to even have the gas in the first instance, there is a development process involved. Now, that development process needs investment for you to even identify where the gas field is, to be able to develop the gas field, to be able to gather the gas, process it, put it in the pipeline. All these require funding, enormous funding, serious investment. So if that is the case, invariably whoever is providing the resources to be able to make that gas available needs to have a cost-reflective price. He must be able to get back his money. So if he's not able to do so, there is no interest whatsoever. There is no motivation for him to put money in that sector. Now, recently, part of what happened, which is not so much discussed in the public, is the fact that gas prices moved up. Previously, the generation companies were getting gas for $1.30, $1.50, plus 30 cents, which is 180. Today it has moved to 330. And that 330 is even one created by government for the purpose of still finding ways of stimulating the gas producers to be able to produce gas. So if the alternative to gas to power is gas to industries or gas for export is showing figures of say $5, $7 or $8 or whatever, comparatively it will make sense for you to go external rather than use it locally. But the domestic supply obligation says that you must use the gas first internally. So to that extent, government has been able to negotiate a gas price that is fairly okay, reflective of cost, that would motivate the suppliers of gas to make it available.
And the producers adhering to that?
Yeah, for now, they're doing very well. As a matter of fact, I say to gas, we've had it so well more recently than ever before.
Oh, okay. I know you may have touched on the answer to the next question, but I was going to ask, how were you able to improve from 300 to 1,000 plus?
Okay, what happened was that first, the infrastructure itself was obsolete. It was built between 1981 and 1984. Between that period and now, no overhaul was done. No maintenance, no major maintenance, nothing.
I thought there was a time they said they were doing some sort of maintenance and all of this. When they shut down and we have this channel, they said, no, we're doing some maintenance. It never got to Egbe.
No, well, the maintenance they were talking about then were just minor maintenance program. Major overhaul, nothing was done. Retooling of the system, nothing of such was done. Part of what we did was that we embarked on a life extension program for the machines themselves. So what you have is that ordinarily the lifespan of a generating turbine is about 40 years, between 35 and 40 years. So invariably, if you take that into consideration, we should be winding down in terms of the lifespan. So what we had to do first and foremost is to start to extend the life of the machine to be able to deploy energy for the next 15, 20 years or more. So that's the first thing we had to do. So a major maintenance program was embarked upon.
How far have you gone with that?
What we've done is that we've done 3 of the units completely. They're new as we speak. We've equally been able to retool the control panel systems so that we can easily see what is going on in the plant without necessarily sitting in the plant. Some of the control panels we met were the ones that was installed in 1981. So we had to bring this to bear. Now, with regards to generation itself, the gas availability has improved geometrically. That is very, very critical. Because without gas, you can have a plant sitting down there and not doing what it should do. But we've had gas supply, seriously, in recent times. Kudos to the federal government for that.
You know, you talked about your expansion from 300, and now you're doing almost 1,000, right?
1,100.
Did the transmission infrastructure expand when you expanded your generation?
Yes, transmission has been expanding as well, probably not in the same pace, again because of lack of investment. Until recently...
Can I just pause you a bit?
Yeah.
Let's go back a bit.
Okay.
Lack of investment. When you say lack of investment, billions have been pumped into the power sector over the years. Where have these monies been going to?
Well, that's...
And you said you came in and met obsolete equipment. So these monies have been, where we've been hearing contracts, power contracts, and all of that. So where have these monies been going to?
Well, to the extent of what I know, which is what I can only speak to, like I said from the outset, power is not something that you say, okay, I budgeted 100 naira because 100 naira is needed now, and then I go to bed. No. First, the 100 naira budgeted must be allocated and spent. The first challenge we've had in the country is that we've been adopting a back-of-the-envelope budgeting system, which is more or less saying that, okay, what is required is 100 naira, but then because of the competing issues and areas, you can only give 50, and you now give 50 to the system. Yes, to you, you've done 50%, but you've done nothing with regards to electricity, because until the last man flips the switch and there is electricity, you've not done anything whatsoever, even if you've put money in gas, if you've put money in generation, and you didn't put money in transmission. If you stop at transmission end and nothing was done at the distribution end, again, you won't have light. And it's something that is continuous.